Hey friends, your friendly neighborhood TS Hawkeye here with another Retro Toy review. Figure I want to talk about today is Apocalypse. I'll show you the articulation, and then we'll go into a little bit of history. Alright, he turns at the head, he has the mid-torso cut, his arms, his shoulders, he has a bicep cut. You know, he turns at the elbows and the hands. There are wires, and they don't really affect the posability a lot, but you know, they are there. So he also has hip articulation. He turns at the higher thigh, knees, and his feet turn, and they're on a pivot. So Apocalypse debuted in X Factor in a cameo, X Factor number 5, right at the end. Originally, it was supposed to be the owl, but then they said, no, we want to... Louise Simonson, I know I'm mispronouncing that, but no, she said, let's create some new villains for this team. So Apocalypse was born. He, oh Jesus, I'm so sorry. Yeah, so he had a cameo at the end of X Factor number 5, had his full appearance X Factor number 6. He is Insabanur, the oldest mutant. Through the X Factor series, he was the one that turned Angel into Archangel, the Horseman of Death. He's turned Gambit into the Horseman of Death. He's turned Wolverine into the Horseman of Death. You know, so he's done a lot of stuff. He is one of my favorite villains. He's up there with Magneto and Doctor Doom. I got this figure secondhand, but no, it's I don't know if anyone reads comics. They had one of the best actual alternate reality stories ever, The Age of Apocalypse, that ran 4 issues for like every X-Men title. You know, they had excuse me, they had tie-ins that said, okay, you know, they tied in, not in their series, but within the Age of Apocalypse story. Daredevil was there. Peter Parker was dead. And the Hulk was there. If you can find the trade, I swear, read it. It is so good. You know, and that story happened after the Legion quest, where Legion went back in time to kill Magneto, but he accidentally killed Professor X, who was his father. And then, you know, Apocalypse saw this crazy, you know, of this and that, and because comics, right? That's when comics were good. So if you can find it, definitely look it up. Let's look at the figure again. This might not be a long review. So, no, I really like this figure. This figure came with the 14 figures I bought for $70. I was actively searching out this figure online, trying to trade shit for it, and just because I said this is one of my favorite villains in the Marvel Universe. You know, I love him. His whole survival of the fittest thing, I really appreciate. That is such a great motivation to be a villain. You know, I'm not a current comic book collector, but from what I've read, they're not treating him good. You know, this is I'm gonna I mean, he looks very menacing. Yeah, he was featured prominently in the X-Men cartoon, and I thought they did a good job with him there. You know, I think he is definitely one of the best X-Men villains. And again, from what I've read lately, not the comics per se. No, I did read a backstory where he's not a mutant anymore, and I'm really sad that Marvel has, descended so far. That's fine. It's make compelling stories, just don't, fuck everything up when you're doing it. But no, it's Apocalypse. There was another crossover. It was the Executioner's Song, and Strife, disguised as Cable, had inflicted Professor X with the techno-organic virus. It's I haven't read that in years, but I think Apocalypse, they got on his ship, or they woke him up, he helped them. But yeah, no, it's the whole Cable thing too. It's that's tied into Apocalypse. The Cable was taken to the future because he was infected with the techno-organic virus, because he was meant to, if he could survive, he would have been the new body of Apocalypse. Strife, his clone, that was such a huge thing in the comics for so many years. It's like, oh, Cable, you're Strife's clone, because Strife didn't have the virus. But it's in Jesus, The Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix. Right after they got married, in X-Men number 30, their bodies or their spirits were transported by Mother, and I'm not even going to try to say it, Askani, which turned out to be Rachel Summers, which is Jean Grey and Cyclops' kid from an alternate future. I tried to tell my wife about this, and she is not a comic book person at all. It's but yeah, so that happened. And then Cable came back after years, and his son Tyler was tall over that Deadpool worked for. And if you want to mind fuck, look up any X-Men thing. Look up Cable. That is a total mind fuck, and I love Cable. Cable is one of my favorite Marvel characters, but I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy just what I mean. But again, his relation to Apocalypse, it's like that. So again, this is a great looking figure. There's nothing I could say I would change on this figure. We've seen a lot of these parts again. These were on Professor Hulk. The whole body, except for the add-ons, so. But no, seriously, if you want a huge mindfuck, look up the history of Cable and Apocalypse in Marvel Comics. I'm a huge comic fan. I've been collecting for 35 years. It's always been Spider-Man and X-Men. That's my thing. And I think it would take me about half an hour, and I'd need graphs to explain the relation between Cable and Apocalypse. So, anyway, if you can pick it up, grab it. Hit me in the comments section. Let me know if you like this review. Give it a like or dislike and tell me why. I'll ask you again. Subscribe, like my channel. You'll get the first notification that I'm reviewing another old toy. All right. So, TS Hawkeye here, signing off. Have a great night and keep on collecting. Yes, I want to.